How's it going, everybody? In today's video, I want to be tackling the Fawcett stage within the Convergence game mode. The reason I really like this stage is because it's going to be giving me the experience resource, and I'm really low on that. And I think in the early game, the experience resource is a bigger bottleneck than the aluminum, which clearly takes over once you start pushing characters past level 160. But this particular node is going to be requiring us to use tactical characters, and since we just got Sinestro, I figure it's time we make a team around Sinestro. So let's go ahead and do that and see how far we can push. You can see here, I'm kind of stuck on Chapter 8 on most of these. I'm hopeful that with Sinestro, I can maybe push to Chapter 9 here. Maybe further. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go check out Sinestro and try and make a team around him. Alright, so here we are at our character sheet. The first thing I'll do is just sort by tactical characters. Definitely gives us a better idea of what we're working with, and right away, okay, let's start with Sinestro. So what does Sinestro do? When Sinestro ults, he can apply Fear. He has a better chance of applying Fear the more debuffs they have. At 5 debuffs, he just does that. The Fear turn meter rewinds them. When he lands a stack of Fear, he gets turn bar himself. So we really want to lean into that. We only need to put in as many debuffs on the enemy as possible, making sure Sinestro ults, and then having him snowball. Besides that, for every debuff an enemy lands, up to 6, he gets the power of Fear, which increases the damage of his ult. So instead of just 5, which does make the Fear guaranteed, if we can get 6 debuffs on the enemies, that'd be great. So we want to have a super debuff-heavy team. Sinestro puts a couple debuffs out himself. That's cool. Even his basic does it, so if we can get some assists going, that would work as well. So that's going to be kind of our lead character here. I think Lex is definitely the second lead character we would have to talk about. Lex, if you don't know, guys, you can craft Lex by having an extra copy of Gorilla Grodd, Green Arrow, Bane, and Two-Face, I believe. And if you craft him, then you can start bringing him up, and you actually don't need additional copies of him until you're at this rank right here. Rank 7, you can kind of get just by having purple characters, I believe. Rank 8 is where it gets, woof, it gets a little pricier. So what does Lex do? Lex is going to be giving us shields on his ultimate. That's kind of how I think we're going to start the match, because we're going to be susceptible in the early moments when we're applying our debuffs. So an early shield would be really good for us. His basic gives him Cloak, which will let him kind of ignore the next incoming debuff control status. That's great. So if an enemy throws a stun at him, he's just going to kind of chill. His advanced attack will call in a assist, yeah, with the highest attack. So that's going to be Sinestro in this case. Sinestro applies slow, so that would be another way to get a debuff on an enemy. That's cool. It'll make Sinestro hit harder. Great, great, great. Then he's got this passive, where when using a basic attack, if Lex Luthor does not have a shield, he'll gain a shield that can absorb 9% of his max HP. If Lex Luthor has a shield, he invites an ally with the highest attack to assist him in battle. So if we have allies that on their basics are doing extra debuffs, I think that's going to go a long way. Sinestro does it. We'll try and look out for other characters that do that as well. And this is kind of the magic of Lex, right? This is where you want him to have the shields early, then you can kind of lay off him a little bit. So for every 4 basics from your teammates that happen, Lex gains 10% damage reduction up to 40%. So he's weaker in the early moments of battle and stronger in the later moments, which I think is really cool. He's going to be our number 2 captain for the tactical team for sure. After that, it's got to be our girl, Raven. We just love what Raven does. She will bring somebody back from the dead on her advanced attack. And I assume that with the lower ranks I have on the characters that we're going to have to fall into, that's going to be very impactful. Besides that, though, her passive is crazy. So upon dealing damage, randomly adds 1 stack of damage-type debuff, Bleed, Poison, Burn, Frostbite. So this would be how we can kind of load up the enemy with a bunch of these different debuffs. Looks like she has Fear as well. When triggered, additionally inflicts Fear on the target for 2 rounds. The target has 5 more types of debuffs, and the damage taken was dealt by an ultimate. Okay, so it's only when she gets hit by an ultimate that she'll do that. It's going to rewind them a little bit. That's fine. Cool. Upon dealing damage, so I guess if Lex calls her in for an assist, she's going to help there as well. Her basic, no debuffs on her basic, but her ultimate, I believe, has a scaling impact on debuffs. Deals super damage equal to 360% of attack power to the enemy target with the most debuffs. Okay, so she just targets the enemy with the most debuffs, and then she reduces their attack and defense by 8%. Not bad. Looks like the rank I have her at, it's going to be reduced by 10% instead of 8. So that's cool. If we get at rank 10, duplicates all debuffs on the target by 1 stack. I wonder if that applies as another application. Because part of Sinestro's kit is that for every debuff applied, he gets a stack of Power of Fear, which increases the damage of his ultimate. Interesting. I mean, I don't have it active yet, so it doesn't really matter, but something I'd have to look into for the future. those are going to be our top 3 characters. But I think we need some more beef to go around with Lex. Gorilla Grodd, kind of our only real option for that. Because I look at Mr. Freeze, I look at Captain Cold. There's enough snow up in Canada, I can do without them right now. I just don't think they're going to bring enough to the table. Gorilla Grodd, he's got a lot of cool stuff. So he does debuffs on his ultimate, that's right. He puts slow and weaken out there, so that's more sources of debuffs. Lex is going to be our first ultimate that we use. I wonder if we need to have Sinestro go next. Because we want to make sure that there's enough debuffs thrown out there before Sinestro ults. But if we have 2 people with a 3-cost ultimate going before him, that could be bad. Oh, Gorilla Grodd costs 2? Well, that's interesting. His basic does have a debuff, Armor Break. So if Lex calls him in for attacks, there's going to be another debuff applied. That's fantastic. Passive, at the start of the battle, he gains 40% damage reduction for 2 rounds. So unlike Lex, he's kind of tankier in the beginning. And then when takes damage from damage dealers with debuffs, each type of debuff grants him 5% damage reduction. Okay, so the more debuffs we put out for Sinestro is also going to make our Grodd tankier when people attack him. So that's great. I think we definitely need Raven here, because after round 2, Grodd's going to be super weak. Lex kind of needs more time to scale up his defenses. So Raven's going to help these guys a lot. And his passive, when attacked, he has a 30% chance to increase one random type of debuff the damage dealer has by 1 stack. I don't know enough about the order of operations in the game yet. I don't know if this applies for Sinestro's passive. When he increases a random debuff type, I wonder if that counts as putting a debuff out there, giving Sinestro a stack of the Power of Fear. We'll have to wait and see. One thing about my Gorilla Grodd, he is unfortunately only 5 yellow stars. I could rank him up a lot higher. I have the 80, but I am lacking these purple materials. I could do him 1 more right now, but I'm saving up for Lex, is 3rd star, so that I can get an artifact on him. So our testing here might be a little skewed just based on the size of the characters I'm working with. The tertiary characters. Obviously, my Raven, my Sinestro are looking fantastic. So that's 4 characters. Let's see, what does Constantine bring for us? I don't think he brings much except for just straight damage. So he does sacrifice, big time damage for that. He kind of life steals it all back, so it's fine. Damage when Constantine attacks the ally with the lowest attack. So he does a debuff, but to our teammates, while giving himself a buff. So that doesn't help us very much. His passive, again, these are buffs for us, not really debuffs for Sinestro. I will probably have to play around between Constantine and probably Zatanna is who I'm thinking is going to be the 5th. Maybe the extra damage that Constantine brings is going to be great, but I think Zatanna is going to bring a lot of sustain for us. Let's see just what this other passive does. When turn ends, magic circle is drawn between Constantine's feet. He completes 1/3 of the circle each time. After the magic circle is complete, it transfers 3 magical projectiles, each attacking a random enemy and dealing superpower. So even no debuffs on that passive, so I don't think Constantine's going to be the move here. Well, Poison Ivy, she only has poisons on 1 attack, right? Only on her advanced attack. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough debuffs to warrant her. I think Zatanna is going to be the way to go. Her passive, just giving us lifesteal, is probably going to be necessary for Gorilla Grodd and Lex to survive, to allow Sinestro to snowball, do a bunch of damage. And I kind of feel like that's the way most teams are. You have 1 super big damage dealer and 4 characters that allow that character to pop off. And I think this is going to be a good group. So we'll put Zatanna in there for the lifesteal. She's also going to apply Frantic and Strong Attack to Sinestro, so he'll be hitting super hard. What else can she do? Her basic doesn't put debuffs out. That's unfortunate. Her ultimate does do Armor Break, and it's a 2-coster. I think that's going to be our 5. I think it's going to be Sinestro, Lex, Grodd, Raven, and Zatanna. Let's go over there and see how far we can push. All right, so here we go. Chapter 8, Node 12. We got our team. I didn't go over their gear sets, but just I have a health block and speed on Lex. I have 6 pieces of damage on Sinestro. Apparently, you do get two times the benefit of having 2-piece set on. Raven has like damage and speed because I just don't really have good support gear yet. Grodd has really crappy gear, unfortunately, and Zatanna, I think she's got speed gear on too. The point is, we're not super set up for major success here. As far as alts go, so we have it going Lex, Grodd, Sinestro, Zatanna, Raven. I'm just concerned that Sinestro's never going to get to ult here. My reinforcements kind of are what they always are, and we're going to have this Sinestro. Well, let's see. Allies gain 12% damage reduction, or during battle, each type of debuff will increase the damage increased by the enemy by 3%. So it's going to be 15% damage increase. So do we want that, or do we want 12% damage reduction? I actually think that while the nodes are kind of in this weaker range, Sinestro will be good, but I think actually the damage reduction from Lex, until we can get our snowball on from Sinestro, will be better long term. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead, let's see how far we can push, and let's just watch the ultimates for this first fight, and then we'll fast forward through the rest. Alright, so we got a couple debuffs out from the passive of Raven. Here's our first shield, that's good. We have 4 debuffs on Frankenstein. Grodd's already dead. Does stun count as a debuff? Okay, Raven brings Grodd back. Yeah, I knew we were going to need Raven. Alright, so that's 5 debuffs on him. Lex actually redid his ultimate before Sinestro went. So Sinestro, we're not getting enough debuffs on that backline. We're not getting... yeah. We're barely getting any debuffs on the backline. Maybe we do want Poison Ivy, because their poisons go for the backline. Gorilla Grodd put some good debuffs. Sinestro, yeah, that ult smashed. That ult did end up smashing. I don't like the way the fight is going, though. We seem to just be overpowering it right now. The ultimates aren't making much sense. Let me do a manual play. 105 experience? That's kind of crazy. Let me do a manual play, and we'll see if I can play the ultimates a little bit better. So, alright, let me just see what Sinestro ult turn 1 would be like. Oh, he needs more debuffs before he can actually do it. So let's get our shield up from Lex then. Let's get a bunch of debuffs out there with Grodd's ult. I forget what qualifier Sinestro needs to drop his cost from 4 to 3. I think it's a certain amount of debuffs need to be out or something. There it is. Okay, he's down to 3 now. I see lots of debuffs. Let's slow it down. I want to see how much damage this does. Not quite what I was hoping for. Let's bring that back. I'll turn it back onto autoplay. I am concerned Lex is going to drop here. But as the fight goes on, he's going to get tankier. The lifesteal is going to kind of help him get back in it. We're going to have a lot of weakens on the enemy. The longer we survive, the better. I think probably my biggest weakness on this team so far is Gorilla Grodd. Not that he's not good, but that he's not tanky enough in the beginning. That's kind of his whole shtick, is that he's really tanky in the beginning. Hold on, let me go ahead and restart this one. I think let me try starting with Gorilla Grodd ultimate. That's gonna put debuffs on everybody, then Sinestro. Oh, no, because we want Sinestro to only do it when it's cheaper. I wish I could just, like, take other people off. Like, I just don't want Zatanna or Raven to ever ult. I guess Zatanna's better than Raven, because at least it puts debuffs out. The armor break, but... so lots of debuffs on the Damien. That's good. Gorilla Grodd gets the slowing the attack out early. That seems like a good thing, too. The weekend seems to be really impactful here. Alright, Sinestro actually only costs 3 by that time. I wonder if we can go Zod into Sinestro. But if we do that, we may just die. We may not have... oh. We may need the tankiness from the Lex ultimate. That shield is pretty damn impressive. Alright, they have really good damage to our backline. So we lost our lifesteal. At least I think we did. I don't think it persists through death. We're gonna need a big Sinestro ult here. They got lots of debuffs. Like, it should be a big one. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Because that Firestar, that was a pretty, like, he was a mini-boss, right? So he had a good amount of health there. Not mad at that. I do think this is probably the best tactical team. But I have some concerns about just my build currently. I wonder if I'd be better, like, putting Sinestro up front and putting Constantine in over Grodd. But the early Grodd ultimate seems really good too. So yeah, the Frantic did go on Sinestro for 2 turns. So we got to make sure that he's ulting with those buffs on too. That's something we also got to make sure happens. Lots of debuffs on the enemy right now. See, I don't want Zatanna to do that. Not like Sinestro could ult anyway, because he would have been 1 short. I mean, I guess it's fine, if you look at it like that. Big shield. Our Grodd is back. More debuffs for that Firestar. Good stuff. Lots of look how slow he is now. Another shield. I don't know if we needed that shield. That should have been a Sinestro. That's why manual play will still be how you can get the furthest, right? Grab with some bunch of debuffs. Good. Alright, here we go. How much is this gonna do? Oh, that hit super hard. Alright, in the interest of saving time, I'm gonna let this play. I'll see how far it pushes on simming it, and then I'll play it myself, see how far it pushes, and I'll get back to you guys in just a little bit. And we're back. Did not take as long as I was hoping for. So we made it to Node 19, but I did make a lot of changes along the way, and we struggled along the way. So we made it to floor 19. This is a 890,000 team. The one before it, the Red Hood one, was actually a 1.06 million, and we got through that by manual playing it a lot easier. This team, I think, shows a lot of the glaring weaknesses in my team, though. Let's talk about some of the changes I made. I did take the levels off of my Wonder Woman, so now I have Sinestro and Lex both at 180. Wonder Woman is also 180, so it's not like I just didn't can my Wonder Woman. Everybody else is 160. I switched my team synergy to be Lex because we definitely need the damage reduction here. And I'm also going to move the mirror to be in position 1 here, and Batmobile can be position 2. Because, yeah, the damage here is insane. As far as ultimates go, I have a Lex leading into Sinestro. But this node, I mean, let's just watch. This node is crazy. Because the way it starts out is Flash, being the fastest character on the field by far, immediately rounds you. I tried to play around with gear. I tried to give myself enough speed gear to get it to go before the Flash. But that doesn't matter. Like, he just killed 3 people. This is insane. This is one of the worst attempts I've had, actually. I've gotten to the point where I had just Flash and Green Arrow left. But then Green Arrow and Flash ult, and they took my characters. I had 4 alive at the time, from like 75% life to instantly dead. Lots of just rough focusing right out the gate. The mirror did not go. Oh, the mirror takes additional time? I didn't know that. That's unfortunate. Hopefully we can get a Lex shield going here. Alright, and this is how it can go good. You get a good stun on the Wally, or sorry, on the Flash. We get the barrier up, and eventually we'll actually get some turns in here. Decent heal. But you see that back line, there's just no debuffs back there. So even if Sinestro gets his ult off, he's not going to rewind anybody. He's not going to get barely any speed. We got the Grodd back. I think this is probably an issue with how high I have my Grodd, my Zatanna, and even my Lex ranked up. They probably need to have at least their artifacts for this. I do still think this is the best tactical team, but God, this node is super rough. If you're a veteran player, let me know what you think about this, because I think, like, if the team is good, I should be able to punch up a little bit. It's only like 180k punch up. I feel like I should be able to punch up a little bit, but this node seems a little bit ridiculous. I tried some substitutes. I tried bringing Constantine in over Zatanna, because obviously we were not getting very much life steal there anyway, right? But, I mean, that additional damage just didn't do anything. No additional debuffs there. I tried using Poison Ivy. Same thing. The poisons getting to the backline were cool, But I mean, Poison Ivy evaporated, and one poison, or like I think it was like 3 stacks of poison, didn't get Sinestro even on like a bunch of resets. It didn't get Sinestro's ult to really do any meaningful turn meter rewind or turn meter gain for him. So there might still be a missing piece for this, but I'd be very interested to know what you veteran players think about this. I still think this is probably one of the best tactical teams in the game. If you like this video, please make sure you leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. But for now, guys, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.